Unexpected,
No,
right?
I was not expecting that. Like, I fucked up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 108 of Press Any Key. I am your resident April Fool, Pen Apparano. With me tonight is just one co-host. Give it up for Mike Burke, everyone. He's a very nice cardigan.
Thank you.
On the ones and twos. Give it up for Hey Gingy. She's here. Post
Hi,
The Last of Us crashing her PC multiple times.
How you doing? How's
How
the
you making out?
emotions being?
I'm very frustrated. I was so excited to play the game, and now I hate everything about it.
It's ruined my experience.
It's actually ruined my experience.
Did you get to see Steam Deck, Joel?
A little bit, yes. I did see some real. I didn't see any.
The hair looked really bad.
The hair
when
looked
I went
really
down there and
bad.
I looked, I was like, oh.
The hair looked really bad. I did not get any wet characters except for when they were supposed to be wet.
Was
I
that
saw,
a thing?
Yeah, like
I
in the
didn't see
middle of
that.
cutscenes, they'd just be sopping wet.
That's just funny.
I know. And like, here's the thing. If it wasn't like game-breaking glitches, like, I don't know, causing a massive memory leak on your system. And like, I had it explained to me, actually. It's funny that we just dove right into this because this is our first topic for the night. We want to talk about a little bit of the horrible launch of The Last of Us PC port. So immediately Steam users review bomb the fuck out of it to overwhelmingly negative, which for good reason. This is not necessarily review bombing. They're leaving their honest thoughts. I laughed so hard at the guy that called it Crash Simulator 2023. Crashes, stutters, glitches, bugs, and like I said, the worst thing so far is the memory leak.
Yeah.
Like where your system VRAM and your regular RAM are just jacked up beyond belief. Sources say that the horrible launch is attributed to the third-party studio that handled the port, known as Iron Galaxy. Michael, do you know what other port Iron Galaxy handled?
Just tell me.
Arkham Knight in
Yep,
2015.
there you go.
And I'm not sure
And
if
they gave this to them
yeah,
again.
I'm not sure if you remember how that one went, but it was not great.
Swimmingly.
That port was so bad that it was delisted and refunds were given at point of purchase.
Oh.
And it wasn't until months later that you could play that game on PC. So, the thing here is that since that the new console architecture is closer to the PC than we've ever been before as far as video game consoles are concerned, I feel like from what was explained to me by my buddy who is a computer engineer, basically the PS5 has a dedicated chip that decompresses assets when they're not directly in front of you.
Yeah,
right?
it like deloads them.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's that like cone view thing.
Yeah, exactly. They did not do that for this. They were just like, remember?
kidding me?
Do you remember how I fucking walked around for weeks? I was like, I got fucking downvoted to fuck on the Last of Us subreddit because I said, no way in fuck do I need a 4080 to get 4K at 60 FPS on this game. Not
Well.
a fucking chance. Well, it's because they just took the PS5 game and ported it to PC, did no optimization, did nothing post that.
Hey,
And
that
unfortunately,
entire like hardware you got,
yeah.
we don't have it.
And unfortunately, they left it all up to your CPU and your GPU. And they, like I said, they did not try to fix this at all. So that unfortunately had a catastrophic effect on the launch of the game. And I knew something was up when I saw no reviews. I was like, dude, there is something in the air around this Last of Us port.
Yeah, no one could
And
play it to
nobody,
review it.
I was like, nobody's saying shit about it. Like, normally there'd be all this hype and there'd be all this like chatter and everything. Like, oh, I got to play the review.
Yeah.
Like, Skill Up would have had a fucking.
It's everything
Yeah.
that we're seeing with Resident Evil 4 would have happened with this, and we got nothing.
Exactly. But no, not this time. So, I think there's a couple things to take away from this. And the first one is that I was angry. Like, don't get me wrong. I am pissed off that there is corporations that are so bold that are like, we will sell you an unfinished product
Yeah.
because we have a deadline to keep to like pay back our shareholders type of deal, right?
I also I get too that it's hot. Let's capitalize on
Yeah.
it. But if it's literally unplayable, that's
There's
just,
no point.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is you can't go after the devs because
No.
the devs probably knew that this was in a shitty shape and they knew what was coming, and hence why nobody said anything about it.
No, they're the sweatshop workers effectively of all
Exactly.
this.
And the publishers and the executives were the ones that were pushing this out the door. I mean, the three of us have worked on projects like that, technology projects where it's like, we have to meet this deadline. Okay, well, it's only halfway done and I need about 3 more weeks to get it done. Okay, but I need it by Friday.
What do
Sir,
you
I'm
want me
going to
to
miss
do?
my child's birthday and my own to get this even 75% of the way
You'll
completed.
both have another.
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll spin it, be like, oh, well, we'll present it in a client. And like, oh, this is how far they come. They need a little bit more work on it. You know, I don't need to go into all like all the
bullshit.
corporate bullshit that we've all been subject to when it comes to client vendor relationships. But in this sense, I imagine that this is what happened where, because originally it started in house, and then when Naughty Dog moved to their new IP, they shopped this out to Iron Galaxy. And Iron Galaxy is known for taking PC games and
doing
making them
that.
console games. Not the other way around. They
Right.
can't do that. And honestly, I thought the PC port of Arkham Knight would have been
Indicative.
enough to keep them from getting that work. But man, nope, not this time. The Iron Galaxy has struck again.
Yeah. My favorite thing is that in the patch notes for this, one of the patch notes is fixed for crash on first boot.
Wrong.
Why?
Wrong.
Why?
Wrong.
Why?
Like square one.
Okay.
We have a problem.
Let's talk about some of the crashes I had. You know that nice screen that I posted that said press any key?
Did it crash right after that?
Yeah, I pressed any key and it said try again.
Nah, son.
Let's see. Tried to update the settings because we realized if I set the remind me what I was supposed to set to DLSS.
Performance DL. You're supposed to set DLSS to performance.
Great. Tried to do that a couple times. God forbid I tried to stream the game because it would just fully crash OBS.
It was
God,
awesome.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so that
If it's crashing your game, that's specifically the game affecting itself. If it's crashing other programs and your system, that means that it's affecting your RAM.
It's
taking
leaked
your
into
yeah,
your computer.
It's now taking your memory and leaking it all over the place. Like there's all this memories everywhere. But yeah, I love the some of the patch notes too. Were like fixed most of the memory leak.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? Like, how bad was it? You know
Like,
what I
we
mean?
gave it our best shot, honestly.
There is some fun glitches I saw where there was this one where like Ellie is like spinning on her head while Joel and Tess are talking in the foreground and Ellie's in the back. I was like, see, why couldn't we get fun ones like that? You know what I mean?
I got a fun one today where a plant was just moving. Like nothing around it was moving. I thought maybe it was like a hint to get me to do something. It was not. It was just a bush, just a branch in a bush.
Yo, you thought it was like a look over here kind of moment?
Yeah, I did. And it was not a look over here moment.
I'm watching one of the videos now of the characters just getting wet during a cutscene for
Yep.
no reason.
Oh yeah.
God damn.
They did look very shiny.
Oh, that's hysterical. Like she's all good right here, and then it's just boom, sopping wet.
Yeah, let me see if I
I
See
made
if I-
like a crash compilation video. So the first night I played it.
Yeah.
on
Oh, yeah,
that's
here we go.
That's exactly
Here,
what I'm
Liz,
watching.
if you want to cut to mine.
Oh, you made
Speaking of
you made a
which,
crash
yeah.
compilation.
Back
Pat,
when I can.
can you put it on the laptop screen?
It is, Liz.
Oh,
Smoking
no.
shit until I see them.
And then boom.
Follow me.
Really?
Yeah.
It's sopping wet. And
Like,
like
the
like
water's
dripping
off and
dripping
spilling on
off
her,
of
Yeah,
it.
It's not
See that.
crossing to that
that's
part
all
yet.
right.
Yeah, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
I
No, I
went
did.
over.
It's like a little long to post to social media.
Just don't stay
but,
on the laptop screen then, just stay on the
Right,
regular
yeah.
cameras.
I did make a video of all my like a good chunk of my crashes on Wednesday night. So Wednesday night I did not have any crashes that fully took out like my PC OBS or anything like that. I did let the game play me and I allowed it to crash 15 times in an hour before I like
Are you kidding me?
I I got to.
It's absolutely unplayable. It's not even like you play it for a half hour and then it just
No,
completely
it's
dies.
unplayable. I wasn't kidding when I said it's like, you know how people see people like, oh, I can't run this on ultra at 60 FPS,
Yeah.
unplayable. No, this is actually, you could not boot this without crashing your entire system.
Yeah, so last night I kind of just got fed up after like a few crashes. After it took out my stream, I was like, whatever.
we're done.
I'm done. So it took about 8 crashes while building the shaders to get up and running for me to change the graphics settings. Then I played for 20 minutes, got Ellie, and I was like, all right, I'll save. I'll stop here. I'll stream tomorrow. Got on stream today, opened up the game. It crashed. Wasn't on stream yet. Okay, opened it up, played a few minutes. Everything was okay. Saved it, went back. I was like, all right, I'm going to leave this up.
Oh, God.
Opened OBS, started streaming, had like 1 or 2 crashes, pretty minor, and then back to back, double, like crashed OBS, like everything on my computer went black, had to restart. So I got about an hour.
I can't believe it's that
today.
shit.
These were quality crashes.
Yeah.
These are good.
Yeah.
These are good crashes. Yeah.
I do think Steam should have a part of its like, because I think this has always been a little weirdness for me, is like it should have a like performance review and it should have a actual like gameplay review, because the game's a great game, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it makes me a little sad to be like, this is horrendously negative on Steam, obviously, because it's just shit performance. But
yeah.
So.
No, yeah, I get it.
I did talk about that today, like while I was streaming, because like I know it's a good game. I've seen plenty of gameplay. I've watched Pat play it on PS5, no problem, or PS4, whichever. Like I've watched plenty of gameplay on YouTube. I was very prepared to like love this game, but I'm just so frustrated with the fact that I can't play it. And as soon as I'm at like a point, like I'm trying to take out like a horde of clickers today, and they're about to kill me, so it's fine because the game crashed and I just had to restart my PC anyway. I don't know, like. It's very frustrating. Like I was very excited. Let's see. I even bought like the digital deluxe edition, so I got all the bells and whistles for my good, hard-earned $70.
Oh yeah.
And it absolutely sucks. And I gave up today and played the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog instead, which was a much more enjoyable experience.
So just before we get off this guy Greg Miller he's been catching a lot of flack from Kind of Funny Games because. This is what he had to say, because I guess, it's one of these things where, like, I don't watch Kind of Funny Games because I don't think they're kind of funny at all.
Yeah, no.
But this is what he had to say.
PC players, on behalf of all PlayStation players, got you dumb bitch. God damn. I told you how long ago, buy the console. You're like, now
dude, buy a
100
dental
million
package.
friends
Jesus
and
Christ.
blah, blah. Well, how about 14 crashes in 4.5 hours? You stupid idiot. You stupid fucking idiot.
That's pretty good if you only
How
got 14 and
stupid do you look
4.5
right now,
hours.
huh?
Listen,
When it
you poor
crashes,
bitch.
you're
I'm
screwed.
sorry that you can't afford a PC.
What an idiot.
all right?
What a stupid
Well,
take.
here's what I told him. I said, yo, I be having Skype sex with your mom on my PC. Can your PS5 do that? Gaming, you turbo virgin. And
you just had to
You
start
see the
something.
reflection of your goblin self hunched over with your mouse.
he's literally
You
going
are
goblin.
a goblin.
He's going
man.
goblin mode right
he
now.
He is a goblin man.
Yeah.
No, he's.
Do you go, oh my God, I've wasted my life with my drivers. Oh, my 4080 can't run this game. Oh no, what do I do?
You know a
Yeah,
lot
but
about
you
know a lot about PCs to hate
But
PCs,
like,
my
but
guy.
like, here's the funny part about this guy's rant is that he's like saying like, oh no, my 4080 can't run this game. It's like, that's not a problem of the 4080, you fucking dickwad. Like, that's a problem of the studio that you're currently riding for. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, literally.
TurboTax, finish your taxes. Sell this fucking piece of trash. I don't care that it glows blue and it's got some coolant. And oh, look, it runs an anime on my graphics card while it goes. You seen this kind of shit people are doing to these things now?
Anime on my graphics card?
That guy definitely
that
runs
guy
anime
definitely,
on
yeah,
his graphics
100%.
card.
He definitely just got called out.
Yeah, he's like, well, hey, like, I don't know, you
This
know.
is, you know what? This has to be the guy I found on the subreddit last night.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And like the best is like, so he was then chirping afterwards like, I can't believe my video got taken down off TikTok. I can't believe that everyone's coming after me for my take on The Last of Us. And it's just like,
Because it's not a take on The Last of Us.
It's not a good take. It's very much not like, you're not considering the circumstances that Naughty Dog fucked up here and this is your way of deflecting that. Like,
It's like it's the equivalent of being like, this is why you should take all your vitamins in your veins. If you take a vitamin in your mouth, you might choke. I told you to just put everything. Like, it's like, what are you fucking talking about?
he's a fucking dickhead.
We hate him here.
We hate Kind of Funny games because they're not funny. And they also didn't review Hogwarts Legacy because they're fucking cowards. Anyway. So, with that said, Mike, did you like The Batman?
The Batman?
Yeah. You know that movie that...
Didn't you? Oh,
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, yeah.
I did.
You did?
And it got snubbed.
It did. It did get snubbed. You know? It really... Don't get me started. Because
I
even
know.
Roger Deakins was like, it got snubbed.
Yeah. The cinematography in that movie is next level. Like, it is just beautiful.
It's incredible. Are you excited for a part 2?
I'm so excited for a part 2. And I need you to tell me why I need to be excited. As excited as I am, because I don't know about...
I wasn't expecting you to go back with me about this. But basically, Mike Flanagan was talking to Deadline recently. Are you familiar with Mike Flanagan?
Not off the top of my
He's
head.
a drunk Irishman. No.
Well, yeah, I mean...
his last name's Flanagan.
Flanagan.
Yeah.
Mick Flanagan.
Yeah, Mick Flanagan. The new burger from McDonald's. Mick Flanagan.
Just seeped in liquor.
That shit is gross. Yeah, so the deal with Mike is that he was actually talking to Deadline. So he has directed Dr. Sleep, Bent Neck Lady, The Evil Priest, and what's the other one he did?
So you want me to say The Haunting of Hill House,
Mhm.
Midnight Mass,
Uh-huh.
and
Midnight Club.
The Haunting of Bly Manor?
That's the one. Yep.
Good job,
And
Liz.
and Dr. Sleep, the one with the sequel to The
Ewan
Shining.
McGregor.
Yeah,
right,
yeah. So Mike Flanagan apparently has pitched a virgin. Yeah, he pitched a virgin already.
He
He-
sacrificed
What are you
him.
talking
He's
to?
sad.
Not funny games.
Yeah. He's a turbo version. So he has pitched a feature version of Clayface over to set at DC Studios. Several sources tell Deadline. However, no word on a green light yet. The studio has said no. Right?
Just
I
no?
mean, well, the studio has not said no because there's supposedly some other Batman villains that might be getting their own spin-offs too. There's no offers, no deals on the table. Though typically a DC supervillain in the Flanagan pick, should it move forward, he wouldn't be the bad guy. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to do a Venom type of style thing. I know,
Sure.
make me mad.
Why not?
So the word is here that Flanagan and his Intrepid Pictures partner Trevor Macy had a meeting with the bosses of DC bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran. Flanagan, we understand, wasn't pitching the character to be part of Matt Reeves' DC Elseworlds, The Batman 2, set for October 30th, 2025 release date. That said, other sources are telling Deadline that the scripts are constantly changing and that Clayface is a big addition to Matt Reeves' The Batman 2.
It's just going to be like the Sandman.
It's not like an official thing, but if it's coming from Deadline and they're saying their sources are saying it, it usually holds some weight. This is
Right.
not like, CBR that's like, you know what I mean?
Like, wouldn't it be cool if they put Clayface and Batman? Like,
yeah, exactly.
like, yeah.
But it remains to be seen whether Clayface is in connection between the Batman 2 Elseworld and Gunn and Safran's feature series Sprawling DC's God Monsters Chapter 1. You know what I mean? They're into the whole slate that they announced.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's two ways that I think they can go about this. And I'm going to tell you them right now.
Do it.
So, the first one is like just Golden Age. Basil Carlo is his name. And I've pulled up the Wikipedia here, and I'm going to read it to you because I wasn't going to write this out.
Basil.
But basically, the original version of Clayface, Basil, Boz, Carlo, Baz Luhrmann, everyone.
Boz.
Laz Berman, first appeared in Detective Comics number 40 of June 1940. He was a B-list actor who is driven insane when he hears a remake of a classic horror film that he starred in, Dread Castle, would be shot without him acting in the film, even though he is the one advising the staff. I mean, that's got to be pretty painful, right? Donning the costume of Clayface, a villain he once played in a different movie, he begins killing the actors playing characters he killed in in the order and way that they die in the film.
God, that is really not hard to pick on and place him.
Yeah,
He's like, there
exactly.
is a clear pattern what's happening here.
Along with someone who knew his identity. Last, he plans to murder the actor playing the Clayface killer, and he's foiled by Batman and Robin. He reappears after the prison ambulance he's riding in plunges off of a cliff. He once again donned the mask of Clayface and targets Bruce Wayne's fiancée, Julia Madison. Once again, the dynamic duo foil his plans. A movie buff Batman co-creator Bob Kane states that the character was partially inspired by Lon Chaney Sr.'s version of The Phantom of the Opera, and the name of the character came from the combination of Boris Karloff and Basil Rathbone, which Boris Karloff, if you're not familiar with, he played like Frankenstein, the Wolfman, all those. Lon Chaney Jr. played the Phantom in The Phantom of the Opera. And this motherfucker, Rathbone, he played Mr. Mudstone and David Copperfield, Romeo and Juliet, Robin Hood. You know, it's just, he's a big
Sure.
leading man type of vibe from back in the day.
So how is this going to fit in with the post? Was it the post credit scene for the Batman?
No. That's Joker. That's
I'm saying like, why would like, where are we going to put Joker? And if we're doing a whole Clayface movie, like, why would you bother putting Joker in the end of that?
because money.
Well, yeah, but like, what? So you're going to do it when you're hoping 3 films down the line?
Yeah.
You're like,
That's kind of what they're looking for. You know,
Okay.
I mean, well, either way though, I think that version is a good version for the Matt Reeves universe. It's not really too fantastical or too sci-fi. if you will.
too fantasy.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Yeah.
the Batman was very grounded in practical effects.
Well, yeah, and I had said before that like it's not too far to add Mr. Freeze, because technology is one thing, but to be like, I'm a giant mud monster.
yeah, I'm a mud man.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That would be weird. So the other other version of this character, who was I mean he was really popularized by Batman the Animated Series.
I was gonna say I know this one.
I'll pull him up right now. Here he is.
Right.
So this motherfucker, he's an actor who he was in a horrible accident, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's his whole thing. I think we can get like an official breakdown here. Yeah. So Matt Hegan was an actor working for Imperial Pictures called The Man of a Million Faces, and he had been disfigured in a terrible car accident. While recovering in the burn clinic, he was approached by a corporate industrious Ronald Daggett. Remember Daggett from the Dark Knight movies?
Mm-hmm.
This is where he comes from.
Yeah.
Who made him a test subject for a compound called Renew
Renew.
that he promised would immediately restore his young and good looks. In payment, Hagen impersonated people in an illegal manner for Daggett. Oh, what happened? Ukrainian children need our support. Whoops. Where
Did
we
we
going?
watch this episode?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I was like, this really sounds familiar.
Hagen impersonated people in an illegal manner for Daggett. Hagen greatly resented this, but was forced to comply as the Renew You chemical was extremely addictive, and Daggett was the sole producer. Also, it was fucking up his skin. So if he like went without it, you see how it was fucking him up?
He would get all melty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not great.
No.
So then eventually he like dropped himself in a vat of it and he became this motherfucking guy. Now, this is, I think, the version that James Gunn's universe would use, because that seems to be the more fantastic. Seems to be the more out there comic booky version to use. You know what I mean? So either way, though, I'm excited that we get to use that. There seems to be a prospect of them using these characters that we've never seen before in movies. Because, you know, Penguin Riddler we've already seen, Joker we've already seen, Carmine Falcone has been in the last Batman trilogy, and he's in this one. So I'm just very happy that they're deciding to be like, who's somebody that we haven't seen?
They could probably do this. I think they could, if they tied it into like when Gotham got flooded. And like maybe he got fucked up in that kind of thing, and then it like just disfigured him as like part of the chemicals and everything. So it's not like a big Clayman, and it's more like you said, like more of like the
Elephant Man type of style.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like more of the disfigurement and almost like a Two-Face type kind of like disfigurement thing.
Should we trademark this now? This is our idea.
Yeah.
This is the press
Patent
any key.
pending.
Yeah.
Patent pending.
TM. Trademark.
Exactly.
And then like
Don't be rude.
and maybe he blames Batman or something because the Riddler he didn't.
Well, that's
save him
how
in
it always.
time.
That's how it always is. It's Batman's fault.
I'm just writing it. I'm writing it.
Yeah. We're getting there. Yeah.
And I could see that being the practical way to do it, as opposed to like the very fantastical giant Mudman, because we don't need another Spider-Man, Sandman kind of.
Yes,
like.
exactly. Yeah. No, you're exactly right. We don't need that. However, like I said, I'm just very happy that they're deciding to think outside the box with the villains, as opposed to being like, you know what's worked 100 times before, and we could really capitalize on.
I would love to see a Scarecrow. I know we've seen him in the Dark Knight trilogy, but like not as the Scarecrow. Basically, I'd love to see like the horror compound Scarecrow.
Oh yeah.
that'd
Like
be-
he actually. Well, all right. Which version? You mean like?
I'm like the Arkham like.
Oh, that one.
I
Like
want,
the one with the needles in the hand and
Yeah.
everything. Okay, so what about? All right, how about this one?
I could see that if it's like super dark and horror oriented.
Yeah. Have Sam Raimi direct it.
What do you think of this guy? I like him. He's good. I like this. This is a little bit better. And then look at this guy with the
Yeah.
noose around his neck.
That's pretty cool.
What's the other one?
That's scary. Like that's freaky.
I think
Scarecrow Batman. Oh, his Injustice skin.
his Injustice look is.
This
fucking
one's a little
wild.
too like this one reminds me too much of this is too much of like a Venom Carnage kind of look.
Yes, but you want to know what I like about this one is that when the fight starts, it's Jonathan Crane, and he just
Yeah.
he hits you with the gas, and then he turns into that. You know
That's
what
what
I
I
mean?
would that's actually like if they did something cool like that.
Yeah, like everyone who meets Scarecrow gets hit by the gas first. You know what I mean?
And then is seen in some kind of different variation of him in that way.
Yeah.
That would be a cool way to actually like do a lot of like Easter eggs about his character development and like looks over the years. It's like each one could have a different kind of thing.
Yeah, I like this. I like where this is going. You should copyright this too.
We're available to write spec scripts. So.
Yeah, definitely hit us up. All right, we'll write the shit out of a Batman movie for you. All right. All right.
Yes, thank you. My ego.
Thank you very much.
You're loving that soundboard.
I do. I really am. All right. So, Liz,
Yes.
are you familiar with Ike Perlmutter?
I am not familiar. with
Perlmutter.
Isaac Perlmutter.
I didn't know that was his name either.
I learned it while I was looking at this.
So normally, we talked about this when we planned this episode. We don't talk about these
Bruno.
corporate. Yeah, we don't talk about Bruno. These corporate oustings, and-
Lollygaggings.
yeah, like whatever. Like I don't care that a rich guy lost a job and got a golden parachute. I don't give a fuck about that. And specifically, we were talking about Victoria Alonso, I think, with that
Yeah.
whole drama and everything. And I just could care. I could care less about that. However, Ike Perlmutter, he was the president of Marvel Entertainment for almost like 20 something years, right?
Yeah, and
More than that, probably.
was just a
Was a
horrible fucking man.
Fucking
Like-
the worst person you'd ever want to work for. And I've worked for some shitty people.
Just like very like classic 80s cutthroat, racist misogynist.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
everything. Like doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you were not a white man, he did not respect
He
or
did-
like you.
Exactly. So, I have a list here of what his actual role. I have like some stuff here of what Ike did at Marvel. Let's just say. So let's just start with what his role
Can we
was
be clear that
overall.
this isn't a list of accusations or something?
No,
after-
this is a
No,
list of shit he absolutely
this is a
did.
list of like
Okay.
factual or reported factual information.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Perlmutter's career with Marvel extends all the way back to the early 1990s, in which he served as a member of the company's board of directors long before the inception of the MCU. By the time the superhero franchise got its start in 2008 with Iron Man, Perlmutter was serving as the CEO of Marvel Entertainment. He sold Marvel to Disney initially in 2009, but remained on to oversee Marvel Studios. After a series of clashes with Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios was removed from Perlmutter's purview in 2015, allowing Feige to report directly to Disney's executives instead. After the restructuring, Perlmutter remained chairman of Marvel Entertainment and was involved in the Marvel's television projects for several more years until they folded into Marvel Studios. Now, that is wild to me that in 2015, DC was trying to buy Kevin Feige because they had gotten the word that Perlmutter was pissing him off and that he wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Oh yeah, they were hoping to just swoop in and be like, "Listen."
So he did facilitate the sale of Marvel to Disney in 2009, which, you know, for good or for worse, we're here 15 years later, so it's not like it matters. And originally, he licensed the X-Men and Spider-Man to Fox and Sony in the late 90s to, you know, make sure that they were, you know, not about to go under. You know what I mean? So Perlmutter's name may have a negative connotation when it comes to his work at Marvel Studios. It is important to note the positive impact he had on the company as well. It's no secret that Marvel went through serious financial turmoil in the 90s, causing the comics company to sell the film rights to several major characters, including Spider-Man, X-Men, and the Hulk, to different studios to avoid bankruptcy. According to Forbes, Perlmutter was important in easing Marvel's financial burden, primarily through his work on the company's early films that pre-MCU, like Spider-Man, Hulk, Daredevil, eventually selling the company to Disney, as we've said before. Selling the film rights to the most popular characters may have become a creative burden in the age of the MCU. Boy, there it is.
Oh boy.
The understatement of the fucking century. But this move greatly increased the company's merchandising opportunities, which is true, dude, because when those Spider-Man movies came out, I mean, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing Spider-Man merchandise. Since the medium of the film is decidedly far more reaching than comics, Marvel movies had bigger audiences that opened up merchandising opportunities that were completely unavailable before. When the MCU did begin in 2008, Perlmutter was involved in creative decisions for the franchise all the way through the release of The Avengers Age of Ultron in 2015, when the Disney restructuring had developed Marvel films promoting Feige.
See, that was the you should have let this man just be a boardroom accountant. Like, that's all he should have done, to like be like, this is how we're going to make the money. This is what we're going to need to do. We need to stay afloat with this and this. When you put him in creative power, that's when shit got bad, because he had said...
oh boy, do I got some news for you, but keep going. I've got to figure where you're going.
He argued that superhero films with either a female lead or a person of color would not succeed, and that's why we have these films like
shut the fuck up.
Yes,
bitch.
he was just like, nah, give me like Captain America. I want to fight Nazis and I want to do this. And so that's why you had all of these things like Black Widow got randomly thrown in there in 2021, and you're like, why the fuck is this coming out now? Because he basically was like, no, I'm not having a woman lead this film.
Well, specifically Black Panther and Captain Marvel
too,
were the
yeah.
two. In his memoir, The Ride of a Lifetime,
Who let this man have a
Disney
memoir?
CEO
Anybody
Iger,
can.
it's Iger's memoir, confirmed that Perlmutter had blocked production on both films, indicating his reluctance stemmed from a fear that audiences didn't want to see films with diverse leads. According to Iger, man, I love the way they put that, diverse leads.
Yeah, they're just like,
According to Iger,
I want to know what that man said.
yeah, these films were only greenlit after making a personal call to Perlmutter, demanding that he stop, quote, putting up roadblocks. Both Black Panther and Captain Marvel made over $1 billion, becoming the two of Marvel's highest grossing films of all time. Which, like, boy, what a slap in the face. You know what I mean? Like,
You know he's still mad about that.
definitely.
And has made an excuse off color for like why it probably worked.
They're making a what? You know what I mean?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
A bad man.
So, on top of that, before that, though, actually, Ike Perlmutter tried to fire Kevin Feige in 2015, which I don't think you should really fire your main architect, because
It's a great
you weren't doing a great job beforehand without him. So, despite Feige's innumerable contributions to the MCU through the entirety of the franchise run, Perlmutter attempted to remove him from Marvel Studios in 2015. In a recent interview on CNBC via Deadline, after returning to his role as Disney CEO, Iger revealed new details about the turbulent relationship between Perlmutter and Feige. According to the CEO, Perlmutter was, quote, intent on firing Kevin Feige. Iger himself stepped in to prevent that from happening. It was after this that Feige was permitted to report directly to Alan Horn, a Disney movie executive. which once again, Marvel lost James Gunn due to Ike Perlmutter
Yep.
and Bob Iger and Alan Horn. And now DC has both James Gunn and Alan Horn. Well, I guess Warner Brothers Discovery as a whole, but has Alan Horn on their side. But it's just funny how like they all of the talent that was there just went like, to the other guys. Yeah. Although the MCU Phase 4 has been divisive, it is clear that Iger's decision to protect Feige has been purely beneficial to the MCU. Feige's creative voice and vision have been instrumental in building the franchise into a financial juggernaut that it has become today. In fact, only 4 years after surviving Perlmutter's campaign to fire him, Feige was promoted to president of Marvel Studios, putting him in charge of Marvel's film, television, animation, and comics endeavors in their entirety. Since then, Feige has remained the face of Marvel Studios, almost always acting as the individual to announce the upcoming titles.
As he should.
Yeah, but the problem is now he's not.
Well, now again,
his hands aren't in the kitchen as much. So, but I mean, that's
he's not making the meatloaf.
Yeah. Dude, this is what I think is by far his biggest offense.
Go ahead.
Buckle up your seatbelts, everyone, because it's about to be a bumpy ride. Perlmutter was often embroiled in various controversies that continuously soured how he was perceived by the general public. Multiple reports from Marvel employees make reference to Perlmutter's intense desire to remain out of the public eye, which supposedly led him to attend Iron Man's premiere in full costume and overbearing frugality, which led to cutting corners at press junkets and similar events. However, while most of these apparent idiosyncrasies were perceived as harmless, some of Perlmutter's personal beliefs have also come to light in recent years that have been proven decidedly less flattering for the Marvel executive. Here we go. While Marvel recasting a character for the MCU is not entirely heard of, Terrence Howard's exit as James Rhodes, a.k.a. War Machine, ahead of Iron Man 2, is infamous for the behind-the-scenes tension that it caused. According to certain reports, Perlmutter told Andy Mooney, the chairman of Disney Products at the time, that no one would notice that Howard had been replaced by Don Cheadle because all black people, quote, look the same, unquote, via Vanity Fair. I gotta be honest, everybody noticed. This report has gone on. I mean, Don Cheadle didn't do a bad job, and we still like having him around, but this report has gone unconfirmed over the years, but if true, it does paint a disturbing picture of Marvel's approach to diversity in its early days. Now, I don't necessarily believe that last thing. The drama is that Terrence Howard wanted more money, and they didn't want to pay him for it. So they figured, hey, we can just get another black guy that we won't have to pay.
The most frugal man in the world was just like, why not replace him?
Yeah, yeah. They're all the same, right? Yeah, it's not a problem. Yeah, exactly. It's funny that we're talking about this because I did have a conversation with somebody in my life recently who described to me that it's actually more racist to be like, here we have a Marvel film with a white director, white PA, white everybody, white, and then they have Black Panther and everybody on that movie is a person of color. So
they said that's racist?
Anthony Mackie actually said it was racist himself.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's a TikTok on it. It's one of his newer interviews, and it's literally it's like the segregation of Marvel Studios. It's like, okay, so the creatives of color, we'll call them that, they can't work on the white people movies because, you know what I mean? But don't worry, we made you your own playpen over here pretty much. That's how he describes it, and that he feels that is in fact more racist than just mixing us all together.
Not the fact that if you're going to have like a predominantly, like people of color cast and everything, and you're writing it for those, like, that type of culture, that type of like everything. It's like that's the thing. It's like you want actors playing like, the characters and their actual like ethnicities and everything. You don't want it just whitewashed.
The point of diversity is to mix everybody together, right? From a production and from in front of and behind the camera.
Yeah, to get perspectives that you as a white man might not know.
Exactly. And in this particular instance, Anthony Mackie literally said that it is racist that they split everyone up like that. That they were just like, well, the black people get Black Panther and the white people get the Avengers, pretty much.
All right, well, how'd Black Panther do?
Made more money than fucking Infinity War domestically. So there you go. So
sit down.
Just got sunned. So why Ike Perlmutter has left Disney. Perlmutter's departure from Marvel officially comes as a result of Disney's new direction under returning CEO Bob Iger. In the past few months, the company has undergone a massive cost-cutting campaign that hasn't left Marvel untouched. In the wake of Marvel's slight downturn in profits, the company is scaling back production, has even delayed the Marvels, as well as multiple Disney Plus projects set to release in the next few years.
That's okay.
As a result, Perlmutter's dismissal is anything but surprising. I mean, when you spend, and you don't make, and here's the other thing too, is like, this was probably not like, sorry, man, we got to let you go. This is like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean?
Also
like,
here's $50 million because your contract says this.
Exactly. Additionally noted in the report that our Perlmutter being laid off that he attempted to shake up the Disney board of directors. Last year, he pushed to have his friend, an activist investor, Nelson Peltz, join the board, though he was unsuccessful. This, along with his frequent clashes with Iger and Feige, his heavily diminished role, and Disney's widespread employee layoffs, result in Perlmutter's dismissal being anything but surprising.
Yeah.
So, honestly, just to wrap it all up, ultimately, this is going to have little to no impact on the MCU going forward. However, with the Marvel Comics, you'll see X-Men come back. You'll see Fantastic Four come back. You'll start to see these characters that Perlmutter had pulled off the shelves because it wasn't directly tied to the MCU and them making profits directly. You know what I mean? You'll start to see some more diverse characters. You'll start to see some more, basically, you'll start to see better representation of everybody overall. And I'm hoping that it's not just I hope it's not. Perlmutter was always a fan of, his idea of diversity was more or less pandering.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that they move away from that now and they take these diverse characters and they put them all together and they tell really compelling stories. Because I feel like when Perlmutter was like, well, I can't have control of the MCU, but I got control of all the comics.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm basically going to make the stereotype of every single race of person that I can in these comics and make it really fucking horrid for everybody.
Yeah.
Take away the stuff that they took away Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Spider-Man. Well, Spider-Man, they just kind of laid low for a while. It's not like they just took them off the shelves because they didn't have the rights to those to basically put in. But I'm just hoping now in this new era that he's gone, as far as the comics are concerned, I hope that we get better, more diverse stories that create compelling characters for decades to come.
Yeah, we've just removed a bad man from having influence.
Yeah, exactly.
The problem, though, is I give it 2 to 3 months. I guarantee we're going to see him doing shit with Donald Trump. Because he had donated like $1 million+ to his funds related to like the election of Trump. Like
it was weird for a while. Yeah,
he's been to Mar-a-Lago like several times.
I bet you he's been on that Epstein plane.
Yo, he's been on, allegedly.
So you're telling me two men that like to put their friends in power and on boards and maybe some courts we might not talk about? You're telling me they hang out?
Oh yeah, they're best friends. I guarantee you, let's give it 3 months and you're gonna see like directed by Ike Perlmutter.
You're gonna see Ike and Trump on a bus.
Yeah.
Grab him by the pussy.
Oh hell. I'm taking away that soundboard, Pat.
All right. Anyways, so do you guys think, like, going forward, that if they do branch out to other characters in the comics, do you think this will make the MCU more accessible again? I feel like for a while you had to see 18 movies to understand what's going on in a Disney Plus TV show, and then you had to see the Disney Plus TV show to understand what's going on in the next 4 movies. Do you think this will open up doors for new people to watch?
So, I just said that this is going to have little to no impact on the MCU.
Womp womp.
Yep.
But Liz, I could see in a way where if you wanted to consider it like DC, where it's kind of like we're having certain offshoots of things do different things, and it's just like it almost is standalone. That I could see, like, if they're going to bring in characters and other stories like that, they might do it that way. But I am not optimistic for them, untangling the mess of what it is right now.
Yeah, here's the thing. I ultimately, like I said, he didn't have any control over the MCU, and we saw that with the Inhumans debacle. We remember because specifically he wanted to do the Inhumans because remember he couldn't get his hands on X-Men, and Feige already controlled the Avengers, so he's like, I'm gonna do the Inhumans. They told him no. He still controlled TV, so he was like, fine, ABC it is. And then he decided to take the first 2 episodes and put that in IMAX and try to market it like an MCU release. And Feige and Iger did everything that they could to stop that from happening. And it came out, and it was awful, and everyone just watched it sail away into the off into the sunset.
I'm glad you thought that was fun to put out.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's just my whole thing. My whole thing is just like I don't need another fucking racist old dude in the halls of Marvel. You know what I mean?
We don't need them anywhere. But but like especially in like Marvel, when you have all of the like creators and original comic creators creating these characters for such a specific reason. I mean, just like the one that comes out is Stan Lee being like Spider-Man. You don't see the color of his skin because he can be anybody.
Yeah.
Like you have that distilled principle in so many of these characters to just have it kind of like shit on by a man like this is just really like hard to sit behind.
And I mean, listen, like Captain Marvel made over $1 billion. However, it incited an incel rebellion from the comic book fan base. That
Sure did.
Who saw that coming? You know what I mean? So, you know, just
Perlmutter saw that coming.
Yeah, he's like, see everything I told you.
I told you. I knew this would happen. I wonder why. Like, tell us why you knew it was gonna happen.
Say it.
Yeah,
Say it.
Say it. Go ahead.
It's like my good friend Jeffrey Epstein used to say.
Say the quiet part out loud for everybody. Ike.
Fuck you, Ike.
Yeah. All right, I'm done talking about Ike. But yeah, Ike's gone. We don't like Ike. So speaking of things that have also gone the way of the dodo bird, Mike, E3 has been canceled. Officially.
It's so dumb.
Shot in the head.
Yeah.
Executed.
Taken out back.
Crucified.
It's almost Easter, Pat. Come on now.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. He was whipped first. Horribly.
Made to carry a cross and then nailed.
Nailed to the cross. He had his arm pulled out of a socket to reach the hole where they could put the nail in. And then to make sure he was dead, they jabbed a spear into his fucking side. And such is the loving story of E3.
Does this mean in 3 days we'll get E3 back?
We'll get E4.
We'll get E4, yeah. So basically, everybody knows now E3 was canceled, but I like the build up to the situation. After 3 major game publishers, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, announced that they were not going to attend E3 this year in favor of their own presentations and trade shows, fears of E3's legitimacy grew. Which there was always that issue when Nintendo said they weren't going in 2017. And then in 2018, Microsoft said, we're not going. And then in 2019, all 3 of them were there. And we're like, oh shit, it's just like old times. And then 2020 happened and they did an all digital event. And then since everyone was like, yeah, we're just gonna not announce anything because we don't know if we're ever gonna, we don't know if
be
we're
alive.
Yeah, exactly. And then
this is just doing the same shit as fucking streaming and cable.
Yeah,
like everybody is getting their own thing and everybody's just putting out their own thing, and you're making it so that I have to watch 15 different videos of 15 different channels doing this and just shoveling shit in my mouth. Do it at one event. That's all.
So Ubisoft,
classic,
they pulled out, citing that they were going to have their own Ubisoft Forward instead, which I get why they would, because they're in financial straits apparently as well, as we've talked about on this show. Yeah,
tickets to E3.
And then surprisingly, Sega and Tencent, which is like they are the biggest gaming company, mobile gaming company out there. They pulled out, and once they were out, E3 was like, well, we're fucked.
Like, yeah.
Because there's no presentations without these giant publishers. And on top of there being no presentations without the giant publishers, no one is paying for the trade show floors. No one's paying for booths. No one's paying for signings. There is nobody to pay any of the lighting guys, any of the sound people. There's not going to be any press there. You know what I mean? So it's really much just like, what are we doing this for? You know what I mean? And listen, it's sad because like you look at like if you look at like pictures from like back in the day when E3 was like Mario Tennis and like whatever the fuck this is, PlayStation 2, Conker's Bad Fur Day, the Xbox was announced, like
The Simpsons.
Do you remember when like The Rock and like Danny DeVito were like simping for the GameCube?
All of those like memes where it's like Jason Alexander is in front of the GameCube and is looking like all ragged.
Exactly. Like look at all this, you know? Like that was the show floor, and there was the Game Boy Advance set up, and like here's all like the GameCube and everything, and like you can go and you can play these demos. This was the Xbox side of the show floor, and remember, this was not open to the public. It was open. It was only for industry insiders for years and years and years, and then they started selling general tickets, and it ballooned and became this massive.
It became
thing.
basically like a Comic-Con for gaming,
right? But then it became about greed, and then it became about, well, let's, instead of celebrating our industry and looking for the year ahead, we should charge all these people to come here. I mean, they were charging people anyway, but this was like,
now it's like we're gonna profit
yes.
off of it. Yeah,
but the thing now is that in the age of the internet, you don't need that. And we talk about, you know, this is just evolution. Like Sony is having a showcase in June, I believe. Xbox always does 2 a year. They have Summer Games Fest.
Yeah.
And they have, God, what's that other one? The Game Awards, where they give out 5 awards and just a bunch of exclusives and
random people show up on stage. And you know.
That guy was at WrestleMania too.
That guy is terrifying.
He has to be a plant.
He can literally be anywhere.
He is the one that I'm like, okay, so like, are we in the Matrix? Because this man is like hopping phone booth to phone booth, and I'm scared.
Yeah, it's even then. It's just like, I don't. Who is that guy just gonna be in my closet one day, or like,
I'm like, who is supporting this kid?
I don't. Whoever it is, we salute you.
We're looking for
I
sponsors.
love the meme. What was it? He gives it out to his stepdad, Bill Clinton, or something.
Oh,
dude! One of the best memes I've saw about E3 being canceled was they posted a picture of that guy at the the microphone, and they go, they were afraid of him. Yeah. They feared him.
I saw a tweet that was like, it's also this weekend was like the 40th like Clown Association Awards, and so they were like, the clowns have outlived E3.
Oh my god! It's like that Twitter. It's like Liza Minnelli has outlived like X, Y, and Z. But so, I get that these are expensive to do. I get that it's a big investment, and I get like it's just difficult occasionally. But like you said, it completely removes the collective culture of doing shit.
Yeah.
And I think it also is, it's just, I feel it's lazy.
Remember last night, it's good for the community?
Yes.
You remember that kid?
Oh,
so
yes. Okay.
We went to this retro game store. It's called, what is it? Digital Press Video Games.
Yeah, let me look it up really quick.
In Springfield, I think it's called Digital
I
Press.
have it here. It is
Digital Press
Video Games
in Springfield.
Shout out.
And that's where I got all those Xbox games, and like I finally got those 2 other Spider-Man games I was looking for. But anyway, they had last night, that store was packed, and it's because they had a bunch of local collectors come in selling their collections. And I asked the guy, I was like, so are you like, I don't understand what's going on. He's like, oh, they bring people in and you're allowed to sell your collection in the store. And I was like, oh, you throw up a couple points to the house? Like, how's this work? He goes, no, there is no throwing points to the house. And the entrepreneur inside me was like, oh, like, what do you mean?
You're not taking 1% off the top.
Like, what are you saying? Like, you're taking up floor space, like, and you're not giving them any money. They're like, no, because it's good for the community.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's a place for us where we can meet and be like, hey, let's meet me at Digital Press, and like you can buy this game off of me.
There was a lot of people there. Now, the last time we went there, I was really impressed. They had a great selection, ton of stuff between video games, collectibles, consoles, the whole 9 yards. And we walked in there, and I'm like, are we missing something? Like, they had TVs set up, you could play on different stuff. And they're just selling it out of crates. This one kid had a bunch of like Wii and Switch games. This kid had a ton of GameCube games.
He had an SNES DS that I almost bought.
He had modded GameCubes.
That's cool.
He did have modded GameCubes.
The kids next to him have books and books of like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, these kids were in there. He said they do it at the beginning of the month at the Springfield location and at the end of the month at their other location in Clifton.
Yeah, like that shit's cool. And it's just like you said, it drives community. It drives people getting together. It drives also like for an E3 scale of these
It
things.
drives sales because I bought
drives-
2 games that night.
It drives
and
sales.
I bought a game from that kid, and I guess I'm helping pay his tuition.
There you go.
That's what he said.
Perfect. I think it's just lazy when these companies are just like, we're going to do our own thing. Because it's like, if you were to do E3, you want to show up and you want to wow people because it's almost like I'm Xbox. I'm gonna one up PlayStation.
Yeah.
So now it's just kind of like Xbox is like, yeah, this is what we're doing. Here's the game slate. Here's some kind of stuff. It's not like, it's just announcing shit as opposed to like making a spectacle of it. And like, it doesn't make you excited about what's going to come out.
So to be fair, I will say this. In the age of streaming, where you can just have your own broadcast and hundreds of thousands of people could watch you on a daily basis, right? It made sense for them to have to pay for the production, to pay for all of that shit. So it made sense for them to charge these exorbitant rates. But now, when like you can just get a bunch of video editors together and get a fucking stream engineer up and just literally stream a video that you made, like with all your trailers, it
doesn't have to be live.
It does, yeah, exactly. It just didn't make sense financially when you're essentially getting the same effect. People are sitting at home on the other side of the screen. That being said, you don't get Keanu Reeves anymore. What did he say? You're outstanding, or
something like that.
Hold on, what did he say?
That's the thing. I get it from like a financial standpoint.
I mean, Nintendo Direct does it. Nintendo Direct
Does
does
it
it very
monthly?
well.
Like-
They do it all They had one
The
where they
feeling
announced Tears of the Kingdom, and then they
being
had one
there,
this week where
of
they announced the
walking
new
the
OLED.
streets of the future.
Yeah. Oh,
is
you're
really
breathtaking.
going to be breathtaking. You're breathtaking.
Clearly looks the wrong way too. You can hear it comes from this way.
Who wouldn't want Keanu
Oh
Reeves?
yeah.
Yeah.
You're breathtaking. You're breathtaking.
Yeah, you don't get shit like that.
Yeah, you don't get that anymore. Where Keanu Reeves comes out and he's like, "Oh, he's the star of Cyberpunk," and that's it from
Don't
that
talk
game.
about
Or you don't get God, what's you don't get this.
I'm also happy to announce this year's winner for best.
This is an E3, but you get my point. You don't get Mick Gordon playing the fucking Doom soundtrack, on an 8-string guitar.
Right.
I think this is the big song everybody
You
likes.
don't get the memes.
Not even just the memes, but the spectacle. Yeah, there you go.
Just walking around on a guitar
But
playing.
like, this is the cool shit. Like, this is the stuff. Like, if you were there and you're a fan of this, then like, you are gonna buy every Doom game for the rest of your life.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You saw this, and that's gonna do that. Like, I think that is, and you're gonna talk to your friends. You're gonna talk to everybody. I know word of mouth for random people isn't much of anything, but like, that's to your point. You can now be a big ass streamer and somebody with content and able to go live and get tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people watching your shit. And if you're sitting there talking about how fucking cool that was to sit and watch that, like you've bought games from streamers, like watching people play. Like I bought, like Liz, you have too. Like I think there's influence and I think there's importance in that.
That's why I bought The Last of Us. I watched somebody speed run it.
Yeah.
I watched Pat play it all the time, and I was like,
Pat is your streamer influencer.
I play it all. There is no game that I am above playing. See Sex
know.
with Stalin. So, yeah, I mean,
Look
listen,
at my Steam
it's
library.
sad. It's the end of an era, but ultimately, I think it's necessary. I think this is evolution. And listen, I hope to see E3 come back in a different fashion. Maybe a smaller event. You don't have to do like the fucking, the LA Convention Center or wherever they did it. Maybe work with these publishers to do an all digital event instead. Basically, we don't want to lose E3 forever. However,
I think we're going to. In its old fashion.
Yeah. However, what I'm saying is, we'll figure something out. They'll get it together.
I was about to say, don't say it here. We don't need to trademark like the third thing this episode.
Yeah, it's true.
Sorry, we're
Keeping
There's
our
another
ideas
one
to
for you.
ourselves.
we're too smart.
So, Michael,
Patrick,
you like Breath of the Wild, right?
I breathe wild.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't know where to go from that. But Do you cry like a bitch?
Yeah, if I'm playing Breath of the Wild, I do.
Welcome to Tears of the Kingdom, baby. So there was 10 minutes, right?
About 10 minutes.
10
yeah.
minutes of Tears of the Kingdom gameplay was released.
And we'll call it, as Nintendo does, it's Nintendo gameplay. So it's not.
It's really a gameplay demonstration.
It's a demo of like, let me walk here and do this and do that, as opposed to like, here's just the first 10 minutes of you playing
Does
the
it
game.
say at the bottom, this is not finished gameplay or something like
No.
that?
No, because they had the
Oh.
engine built from the last game. They've really just plopped everything
well,
in that.
now
This
they
is
did
not a
say
Pokemon release.
No.
they did say that they did not that actually I'll hold that. They did say that they did not just copy the world over. They did change some stuff.
Yes, the world is changed, but
yeah,
you
but-
know, if you pull Mountain from one spot to the other and then make it a little bit bigger,
And that
that's what they did.
this was originally DLC that they ballooned into a full ass adventure after the reception of the first one. Which is not uncommon. I mean, we've seen that even with the Resident Evil series. They did that twice with Resident Evil 3. Twice they did that shit.
Right.
And I think in this instance, it's kind of exactly what I expected in the sense, like, I didn't think the gameplay would be radically different. It's more like they added on to it instead of changing things, the first thing that drives me fucking crazy is, you know what I'm going to say, is that the weapons still fucking break.
We're not going to go into
I
this,
hate
but
it.
it's consistent from the last game. We'll say that. If they're using the same engine, they're using all the same, like, pretty much everything. Like, you could have
It was
expected
the
this.
one critique, Mike.
I know.
It was not even me, like the community
But-
at large is like, man, fuck that.
But they adjusted it. Weapons can still break, but now you can put shit together and make it stronger. And if this is about to break, you can just put a big old rock on it, and it won't break right now.
Okay. I
So
like that.
That's like the big thing, is about like the weapon fusion.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, okay, I have 45 sticks and branches. It's like, what the hell can I do with these? You can just go and pick up a pitchfork, and you have, you know, a 40-foot pole that can poke somebody now.
Now I imagine since they didn't talk about it very much, everything on the ground is still pretty much the same, I would imagine, from the first one, right?
I'd assume most of that. I don't know if there's going to be shrines and stuff like that. I'm assuming there may or may not be. I had a big criticism with shrines. I thought that was if there's like, you know, there's like 120 of them or something. Do you remember? Or?
It's a lot.
Yeah. And they were just basically kind of like, you did 5 of them, you did all of them.
Yeah. Korok seeds, get them out of here.
That's impossible. There's like 1,000 of those.
Get
Like,
them the fuck out of here.
That's outrageous.
Now, what did you what's it called? Well, that's the thing is that I'm getting to actually is, so they focused on everything above the clouds, which that was the first thing that they showed us when they announced the name of the game too.
Yeah.
Was like Zelda was Link. Yeah, Zelda, you know, the guy with the little green hat.
Yeah, you know.
He's flying through the fucking air, like just skydiving. You see all these floating islands, very BioShock-esque, you know? And this whole idea of that you can pretty much just physics engine these little
It feels like
boats and
Gary's
cars.
mod.
Yes.
It's like
yes.
Breath of the Wild Gary's mod.
It's very much Gary's mod. But I like that addition of stuff, because I always thought the best thing about the first Breath of the Wild, or Breath of the Wild, because that's what it is, because they're separate. It's two
This is
two
Breath
separate
of the Wild
things.
too, but continue.
Yeah, in name only. It is they built the physics of the world first, and then put everything else around that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God, me just talking about this makes me want to fire up Breath of the Wild so
I
bad.
know. I really gotta play it again.
And I feel like they did the same thing here. Was they took the physics of that engine and they took the physics of the world, and they're like, how do we add on to this from already great gameplay? And the construction of, as you said, the cock rocket with the little fans. There we saw the little sailboat that they made. There's a little car that they made.
Yeah.
There was some sort of hot air balloon. Yeah. And this whole thing where you can just drill straight through the bottom of the floor and get. All that is great for traversal. It doesn't seem like they changed anything about combat, though.
I think combat will be pretty much. I mean, they made it so that you can fuse your weapons, and you can also. They made it more modular, is what they did. Like, so instead of like needing to worry about like hunting the what is it? It's not Lionel. What is the big scary like centaur looking fuck. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, instead of having to like hunt them and get electric arrows, like you can just basically get all the ingredients that you had stocked up and then fuse an arrow onto it to get a different effect for your weapon. So in the trailer they showed you can have like an ice arrow by just combining like an ice wing of a bat. You can put a leaf on it and it'll like make it windy.
One of these fucks.
Oh,
right?
Lionel, yeah. Yeah, so like in one of the things I remember from Breath of the Wild is you had to find one of these guys and either kill him when you were at like a low level or just let him shoot you and you can collect electric arrows because you needed those for the water quest.
You know what's hilarious about this screenshot? It's in a higher resolution than the Switch puts out.
Sure is.
So that do you have anything else to add to that?
They're gonna make what they've done is what it seems like. Yeah, to your point, I'm sure they're gonna be a little bit more like backstory. It seems like I don't know where it's gonna be. It might
This
go into like
can't be another one of those Zelda games that's like, here's a prequel, not a sequel.
No,
here's
it's
another prequel to the first game, not the prequel to the prequel that we put out. Here's
Yeah.
a sequel to the prequel to the first.
What I think they're gonna do is they're gonna go into why all the like ancient shit is around there. But what they've done is like a lot of what people really liked about Breath of the Wild was kind of fucking around and doing some weird things, and like the speedrunning community is really cool with that. People would make like those octo balloon rafts, like, and they were like, oh, people really like making this game janky and kind of like, you know, like people would also like do things where
They enjoy the community creativity pretty much.
Yeah. They would. I remember you made flying machines in the old one by like using the magnet and like levitating stuff. Like, and they've just effectively given you the tools to do that.
Or
now.
you could freeze a rock in the air or whatever,
Yeah.
smack the shit out of it,
Hop
jump
on
on
it.
top of it, and then when it exactly.
Like I think like I cannot wait.
Yes.
I cannot wait to watch people break this.
Yeah.
So bad.
May
Like,
26th, I believe, is the release date. So the other thing that you brought up that you wanted to talk about was the Japanese collector's edition, which I was like, what
So
could this
random.
possibly be? Man, what a wild way to
So
to-
you get the book, you get like the case, you get everything
your bog
normal.
standard stuff. You get your
Yeah.
you get
You get a
your
poster.
your art book, your poster. You know, you get a nice little case.
You also
what is this USB drive? Let's see. Collector gear.
Zelda themed controllers available. Oh,
Oh,
no,
I
you gotta
saw
buy
that. I was thinking about buying that, but it's like $75. But I guess what stopped me before?
I need a pro
um,
controller, so
Tears of the Kingdom Japanese Collector's Edition, which costs 15,000 yen. How much is that in dollary dues?
$110.
Okay, that's not bad actually for a collector's edition.
No, for all this shit, like, so you get base game, the steel case, a poster, a pin set, an art book, and also a fork and a spoon. What? Why?
I didn't even know Japanese people ate with forks and spoons.
I mean, they obviously they do.
Yeah, like in the modern age, but
I just think that's why.
yeah.
It's not like it's an. I mean, there's cooking as a mechanic in the game, but it's not like it's not Cooking Mama.
How do we get our hands on this? We need to
It's
order
sold
one.
out right
No.
now. They might do it again, but
I'll find one. We can do an unboxing.
you can eat your dinner just like with it and be like, hey guys, I don't know why they would do this.
Damn.
So yeah, collector's edition's out, but I truly
Collector's edition is only $130. That's not bad
Plus
considering
shipping.
like fucking but considering
and we got a $70 game.
Oh, okay.
That's
all right.
the
So actually that transitions to my next point. Let's be clear about something. We all think the Switch is on its last leg, not even two legs, because that implies it had four. The Switch is on
beast.
the Switch is on its last leg. It was underpowered when it was released, and it's certainly underpowered now when
even-
compared to its contemporaries.
Even the upgraded version is underpowered. Like,
Well, that was the other thing too. I was like, I might buy the OLED Switch for Tears of the Kingdom because I want to get the bundle with all the fancy stuff. And my buddy who works at GameStop then informed me that there is no power difference. The bigger battery that they put in is to compensate for the bigger, more powerful screen.
Yep.
So it's a zero-sum game at this point.
there are things that are like upscalers for the Switch that I've seen. Like I have like this is like it's a video game, you know, like 1440 4K upscaler. I don't know. I mean, they always have really good reviews. I don't know how they work too well. And I think that's how sometimes like streamers get like that kind of quality out of it.
But why are you buying that if you're already buying a $300 console that should be doing it?
Yeah, because the console doesn't do it. Like, you know, that's literally it. You're forced to do these type of things. I don't know if they work well. I don't know how great it is. I don't know anything about it. If anybody knows about it.
Denser pixelization for sure.
If anybody knows more about it, like, you know, let us know. Come to our Discord and let us know. But
No,
scream at us.
Put it in the comments. Get that
anything.
online
Just
traction.
tell me, because I'm just or like, is it worth buying? Because I might, you know, throw $100 this way to like get that kind of thing.
So the thing is, though, that the Switch performs at 60 FPS at 900 when it's in dock mode, and then it's 720 when it's not docked, right? That's woefully underpowered. Now, listen, I get that the Switch has cornered handheld gaming as well as console gaming for younger gamers.
Exactly. It's a big phone.
However, I think that they need to give me a box. I need another box that I can place on my entertainment center that does proper, even just 2K would be nice, you know?
That's actually a really good idea. You could take the Switch as it is, and that's the portable version. And instead of just having a dock, which is literally just a USB-C cable,
Yeah.
have it have like actual, like have it have an upscaler in it. Have it have like a little bit more RAM or something that like when you put it in,
Almost like those external GPUs.
literally, yeah, like that would, and you could sell it for another $200 and everybody would buy it.
Absolutely.
Like I would love to have that, and then it does not affect anything of the functionality, anything of the like everything that they've put into the Switch up to this point.
right.
All of its modularity, all of its like younger thing.
It's a
like,
bold move for them to charge $70 for essentially at this point a last gen title. And
a last gen DLC expanded title.
yeah, and let's this game will not have the impact that Breath of the Wild did, because it's not going to be such a rash departure for the series. Ultimately though, I'm still going to buy this game when it comes out. I'm going to play the fuck out of it when it comes out, and should be a good time.
I think we're all gonna do that. No one's gonna be upset by it.
And then I'm going to be upset when they announce a new piece of hardware and they're like, "Oh, we're porting."
I know.
If they say
And
that
it's
you
gonna
can
be
buy
4K.
Yeah, if they say you can buy it and you can transfer your save data, that's fine.
You can't. You know you can't. If it's anything,
I'm fucking hoping.
buddy, I have Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. Like, enough said.
Did you get it for Switch or did you? What?
Because I paid the money for the Wii U, and I have it for that.
Your first problem was having a fucking Wii U.
Well, you know, what is it? Super Mario Maker came out on that, and I wanted to make my own Mario levels.
No.
Shut it down.
Shut it down. That's not the one that we want. We want.
And did you get Mario Maker for the Switch?
Yeah, absolutely, I did. Super Mario Maker 2, Liz.
I'm so sorry.
So,
I'm so excited for it though. Like, yeah, all this aside, I can't wait to play it.
That's true. Yes. All my worries aside, I feel like it'll still be a good game. And ultimately, you know, they got us by the balls on this one.
There's also like not an effectively bad Zelda game. Like some are better. Well, here's the thing. Some are better than the others. What one are you going to say?
Skyward Sword, I put down after 3 hours.
It's not a great game, but if you like play through it, you're like, okay, I don't hate it.
This is not exactly a ringing endorsement.
But what I'm saying is like even a bad Zelda game isn't atrocious.
I don't even know if I've told this story on the podcast. It's like a 13-second
I was gonna say
story.
it's a 30-minute story.
47 years ago now. But basically, Liz watched a video on Breath of the Wild, and she was like, I think I'm gonna play this game. And she goes and buys it. And I had never played a Zelda game before, ever in my life.
Really?
Never, ever. They just never appealed to me. Look, you're gonna find out.
No, that makes sense.
You're
Never
gonna
mind.
find out real soon why they don't appeal to me. And she puts it in, she plays it, and she gives up after 2 hours. Like I can't figure this out, right? Now
Oh.
I had literally like 2 days before had been laid off. I was like, well, it's here. I got nothing to do. I might as well try it out, right? 150 hours later, I'm like, this is one of the greatest games I've played in my life. And I asked my friend, who's a huge Zelda nerd, I was like, are they all like this? He goes, no, that's what makes this one so special, is that like this is the first Zelda game like this, and they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
So I went back and I tried Skyward Sword. I tried Twilight Princess. I tried
all of that makes sense then.
And I'm just like, I get why I didn't play these.
See, but for me, it was the opposite. We had this type of Zelda. We had Wind Waker. We had Skyward Sword. We had Twilight Princess. And, of course, we had Ocarina and Majora's Mask.
Oh, well, I did go back to play Ocarina of Time, and I haven't played Majora's Mask yet, but there is quite a camp of people who
That's a hard fucking game.
Majora's Mask?
Yeah.
I had that for
3DS? Oh.
No, N64. For some reason, I don't know. I had the weirdest mix of games. Like every Pokemon game, Majora's Mask, and then some army games.
I loved the little
Sarge-
army soldiers,
Sarge's Heroes.
Yeah.
And if you think I gave 2 hours to Breath of the Wild, I mean, 7-year-old me gave like
10 minutes.
30 minutes to Ocarina of Time. I just followed the little fairy. I'm like, Ocarina, sorry. Majora's Mask.
Listen! Hey, listen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she just yelled, hey, listen at me the entire time.
Ocarina is great. Majora's Mask is really good. It's just hard as hell.
Yeah.
Because
I
you're
wouldn't know.
dealing with time. But that was the thing. It was like we had this, and this, and then it was like you just gave us what we want. Like what Breath of the Wild was so special about was it felt like how you remembered Ocarina of Time. Like when you were 10 playing it and like you were in the field and it was massively expansive and everything looked so big. I mean, now when you look at it, it's like you could see one into the other basically because it's an N64 game. But this gave us that exact feeling of that nostalgia and openness and massiveness that was the breath.
My one friend,
its wild.
my one friend is constantly telling me that I should play Majora's Mask. I'm like, I got to finish Ocarina of Time first. He's like, well, when is that going to happen? Like, I don't know. I'm going on my third playthrough of Resident Evil 4 Remake. I'll let you know.
I get it.
Dungeons and Dragons, everybody. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. You want to go ahead and start? We'll start non-spoiler.
Sure.
Okay.
So it came out
Yeah.
March 31st.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah.
It came out just this past Thursday.
I saw it on Thursday night.
So do we.
The theater was pretty empty. Understandably.
Yeah.
Quick summaries. It's a charming thief and a brand of unlikely adventurers embark on an epic quest to retrieve a long-lost relic, but their using charming again, adventure goes dangerously awry when they run afoul with the wrong people. This snippet summary describes my exact feeling of what the fuck generic kind of thing did I watch.
So now I heard what you said before when I was in the other room. You liked it.
That's the thing. There are good parts of it, and there's a lot of it that like I was what's happening?
I went into this being like, this has really good reviews. I've heard nothing but good things from people that I trust. And I watched the whole thing and I was like a fucking heart monitor that had flatlined. The guy next to me at one point put his hand over his mouth and goes, "Are you joking?" and got up, and we never saw that dude ever again.
It's definitely made for a younger audience. It's absolutely made for that.
Guardians of the Galaxy, but for fantasy.
But
that's what I think it is.
But even less.
Yes.
It's like take Shrek and take out all the all the adult jokes, and that was it. And I was like, it was not marketed that way.
They were dying.
What?
They were dying the entire time.
There was one part I laughed at.
I had audible laughs, a few.
I thought it was chuckle funny.
I laugh at more things than I should, and I'm aware of that. I'm self-aware.
Because you have humor in your heart.
I do. I still have light in my life. My mom thought it was hysterical. My mom loves Chris Pine, and she loves him in Star Trek and everything. So she
Which,
was
to his
sitting there
credit,
cackling.
he's great.
He is great in it.
The cast is great, besides for Justice Smith, I maintain that he should no longer work in Hollywood.
But they wrote that character like ass.
But that's why he's playing him.
I know.
Like, he plays the same fucking character in every movie.
I know. He's
Like,
very typecast.
Yes, exactly. Like the sheepish kind of, the bitch. He
Yeah,
plays the
yeah,
bitch
yeah.
in
The
every
person
movie.
that like you
Yeah.
go and you bully and push into a locker.
Yeah, exactly.
And then at the end of the day, he's like, "I learned how to unlock this from the inside."
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, "Great, good
Yeah.
for you."
And Michelle Rodriguez,
A great Hellion barbarian type
just
character.
take her from the Fast and Furious movies and put her in this, and there you go.
Which we got the obviously the preview for Fast and Furious before this, and I was like, oh, that's fucking funny.
We didn't see any of the previews because I sat once again. This was another movie that we sat down and it started, so I was like, oh, thank God.
Oh, I went through to an 8:30 showing. It started at 8:57.
When we finished the meeting, I looked at my phone and there was a 6:45. So I like, let's go right now.
Yeah, we're
Let's get
going.
it out of the way.
Pat said it was 6:08. He's like, "Do you want to go to the movies at 6:45?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he was like, "All right, I'm gonna go shower real quick." We left the house at 6:42.
Still got there in time to see the movie. So a little bit. This movie was made for $150 million. It made $38 million domestically. Internationally, no, $33 million. Opened up with $71 million. Not bad. Not bad. But it's gonna need to do a lot in the next couple weeks. Now, here's the problem I think it had. It released in between John Wick 4, like the culmination of a crazy set the bar for action franchises, and it's coming out a week before the absolute juggernaut of the Super Mario Brothers movie. That comes out on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, and that's going to have a crazy opening, because it's in the middle of spring break. All the kids are off.
Yeah.
It purposefully opens on Wednesday, and I think showtimes even start as early as
Noon.
fucking 9 o'clock.
Yeah. There's like a noon, a 2:45, a 5:30.
Oh my
and an
God.
8 o'clock. There's
Okay.
And it's multiple theaters. Like they have, even like
Yeah.
one of the theaters that we go to that predominantly only has digital has a 3D showing of it too. Like it is.
Yeah, it's gonna be
insane.
gangbusters.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be the first movie of 2023 to make $1 billion. I'm willing to put all my own money on that.
This is sitting right now at a 90 from actual,
Yeah, from critics and
score, and then 93 for audience score.
Are we talking about Dungeons and
Dungeons and Dragons,
Yeah.
which the only thing that I guess my expectations walking into it would be I don't want to say grittier, but I almost expected, because I mean Dungeons and Dragons, and we'll get into this a little bit more when we start talking about specifics for it. I feel like the best parts of ever playing Dungeons and Dragons, or the whole concept of that, is kind of like you playing a character, and then there's being that disconnect where you're like, I would approach things like this, but in that world, if you approach it that way, you fuck everything up, and that's hysterical. You go and you're like, I'm just gonna go and barge through this door because
Yeah.
I want the treasure, and then it just causes so many problems.
yes,
I was expecting more I guess I don't want to say gritty humor, but everything about it was, this is so funny, this is so funny, this is so funny, and then
aren't we hilarious?
that was
Yeah.
it. That
Yeah.
was it.
So here's this is the most conflicting movie I've seen in a long time, because I do think the action is good. It's filmed really well. You can see everything that's going on, and they don't skimp out on the stunts. I think it looks really good.
It was bright.
I think, yes, it was very colorful. I think the performances are great. I think the casting is for the roles that they play are impeccable.
Mm-hmm.
I think the story actually had quite a lot of heart in it, especially towards the end. And I think that the production looked great. I think the sets, the costumes, the CGI was either, I can't tell if that's real or not, to that looks fucking awful.
Well, there was a lot of practical effects, which I really liked.
I fucking loved the creatures and
Yeah.
everything. That shit with Jonathan.
Yeah.
Dude, I loved him. He was great.
I thought that was a big standout. Was it really felt to me like it was it almost, Labyrinth, with David Bowie, that movie from back then. It had a lot of the Jim Henson Creature Shop kind of things. It felt in that vein with all of it, which made it very fun to watch.
Yeah.
For that type of thing. And I'm really glad they actually did, because I mean, I think it would have been horrible if it was all CGI.
Awful.
It would have been like, like it would have just removed all fun elements. It would have removed anything that kind of made it like slightly campy that worked.
Yes, I would agree. So here's my thing though. I think for what this is going for, it works.
I agree.
It really works. That being said, this movie's not for me. It's not. It just isn't. I'm not a swords and sorcery guy. Like, I never have been. I've never seen the original Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I have no desire to. I get that they're amazing and 47 Oscar nominations. It won like 17 of those. Like, I get it. Like, but that fantasy style of story, it doesn't appeal to me. Like, The Witcher, I like, but I mean, like, I'm not even gonna watch season 3 at this point because like Henry Cavill's not even in it
it's not
anymore.
The Witcher anymore.
I tried watching Game of Thrones. I got a season and a half in. And I was like, I just don't care. I tried watching Rings of Power. I got 3 episodes in. And I was like, fuck this as well. We watched House of the Dragon the whole way through, but that's because I feel like that was heavy on the politics though, and that's what I was really into.
Right.
And
you're just not like the fantasy.
I'm just
genre,
not into the fantasy genre. I'm sorry.
which
like,
is
that's
where,
just,
like you said, your confliction comes from. You're
where
like,
it's like, I get this is good and I get why people like it, but I don't, just
See-
because I'm not partial to that type of genre of film.
See, I like that type of genre of film. Like, I really like the Lord of the Rings movies. I know people give The Hobbit a ton of shit. I liked most of those movies. And I'll give, like, what I really like about all of those is the world building. And I like that it is, like, for Lord of the Rings, it's like you have the Lord of the Rings enemies, you have the villains, you have the, like, type of creatures that exist in that universe. Dungeons and Dragons is really niche, I feel, and like has a lot of those really, really detailed, specific kind of things.
I didn't know
that did not appear in this film.
Well,
though.
that's the thing is that like as somebody who doesn't play Dungeons and Dragons, I don't feel like if you were a Dungeons and Dragons fan, there's probably some shit in here. No,
very minimally.
and even then, I don't think that takes away from the overall experience. You know what I mean? Because that's the thing I want to express is that objectively, this is the best version of this movie that they were going to make. You don't feel the runtime, the character, like there's no heavy like.
It's real light.
It's real, yeah. You know what I mean? And also like I said before, the action's really good. The cast is really good. It's funny in parts. Like it's chuckle funny. It's not you know, like it's just it didn't do it for me. Like I was a flat line the entire way. I don't understand. And I looked to some of the audience member. I mean, the guy next to me literally got up halfway through and never came back. And I looked at some of the people who were down the row, and they were just completely stoned as well, you know, like, and I'm sure obviously there's people who like it. Like how many audience reviews?
Over
is
1,000.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not as many as normally, but you get, and how many critic reviews?
218.
Okay. That's exactly where it normally is. So this is not the thing I will say though, is that the people who did like it, who are, cause I see quite a lot of people online who are saying they like this movie, they love it a lot, all this stuff. Right. I think that it's going to have legs because of that. It's going to have a lot of, oh, you should go check that out before it's not in theaters anymore. Oh, you should this or you should that. Because the people who did like it are going to tell the people who are, I don't know if I should see it or not, to go see it. And when those people go see it, that's all.
Then
that's
it'll have a little bit more.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? It's going to thin the herd as it goes because it's not going to be like John Wick, where John Wick's already made over $200 million at the worldwide box office because it debuted with 135. But now you're coming into the next week, and it's like you gotta fucking see this. It's fucking insane.
Just
there's
like
not a single person
to talk about. Just go see it.
There's not a single person that I've talked to who has seen that movie that wasn't like, wow, that was fucking incredible.
Liz, I was talking with your mom before we started the podcast, and she was like, yeah, and I heard John Wick 4 was good. I was like, it's such a good movie. I was like, every John Wick movie is just John go kill and shoot people and punch them, and you're like, okay, how's this gonna be different? And then it's like, oh fuck, that was so good. Like, every time.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying where it didn't do it for you. I felt like if this was the line where it was like, oh, it's got to get up and go over that, it just hit like right here and stayed for me.
Yeah. That being said, I really liked Hugh Grant.
It was interesting. Yeah, one of the big notes is like what I said, I was like, it just felt far too generic for me. Like it could have anything could have happened in any different way, any different character, any different enemy, any different thing could have been swapped out for something else, and it really wouldn't have affected anything.
Now, do you think if this same movie had come out, say, 5 years ago, it would have been as received as well, or you think we would have liked it more? Because you got to remember, I'm gonna catch a lot of flack for this. They MCUified the fuck out of this movie. Like this is as if they made a Marvel movie with Dungeons and Dragons.
I think honestly that's why it works when it works.
Yeah, but it has no effect on me anymore because I've seen all the MCU movies. You know?
Yeah, in the level, and like if we want to get into spoilers, like I'll talk about one.
We'll rate it, and then
I'll talk about one big point in there.
Here's where I'm at. I think that this is really. I think for what this is going for, it's great. It hits all its marks. But for me, as a viewer, as an audience member, I don't love this genre. I don't know. Just nothing about it really excites me. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. And I do have some minimal criticisms that doesn't take away from the storytelling or the effects or the action. It's just things that I would have liked to have seen. So for me, I would give this like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. I'd say for someone who has more of that like proclivity for this type of fantasy stuff, has played Dungeons and Dragons, might be like for the audience who is like, hey, yeah, I like these kind of things. I want to go see it because it's an actual Dungeons and Dragons property.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like it does have that feeling. Everything you said with the cast, the direction, the story, it does feel to me very authentic to like a Dungeons and Dragons gameplay experience, like like that you're a lot of it hanging out with friends and like the party element I really like of it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Dungeons and Dragons where you will play, I want to say like small stories or small portions of the story like in that one session, and there's obviously like a bigger overarching story. This felt like one of those small offshoot sections, and it felt very contained and good and complete in that aspect. So I mean, I'd give it like a 7.5, 8. It does, like you said, it is the best version of this movie that it could have been.
Yeah. What about you, Liz? What do you think?
I really wanted to like this movie, and I had a good time seeing it. That was great. I have not thought about this movie since
when I for the first time ever in the existence of this podcast, I was like, what are we talking about today?
Yeah.
I was coming up here to sit down, and my mom goes, don't forget to remind them it's supposed to be a happily ever after. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So
you're like, what? Or for what? The Last of Us? I don't think so, Mom.
So with that being said, I'm going to give this a 6.
Everybody died. Wow, a 6.
I just don't. I know.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I would give it,
Well, I think it's a solid 7.
Yeah, solid, rock hard 7.
I'm fine with that because
okay.
In it while I was watching it, solid 7 because it's been 4 days and I've now watched 2 John Wick movies now in between that time frame. A 6 because I just don't care. I'm sorry, I don't care.
You watch it once. That's all you need to do. It serves its purpose for watching it once.
I also just want to say that doesn't mean I would. I'm like not knocking Dungeons and Dragons the game.
Sounds like it.
No. I would play Dungeons and Dragons or like watch people do it because I don't think I'd ever conceptualialize it in my brain.
This is on a different playing field.
Yeah, this is just
But so no, 6 or 7, whatever.
I like how you just told everyone you're too dumb to play Dungeons and Dragons, which is literally the sweatiest of the sweaty games. Like
Magic's pretty damn close too, dude.
Look, I have never claimed to be good at games. If it doesn't have a farming simulator attached to it, I'm not going to play it.
You could choose to be a farmer in Dungeons and Dragons. Liz, it's your imagination is what limits you.
All right, so let's get into spoilers because I got something to say about that.
Go ahead and start.
Okay. One of the things that bugged me about this movie is that the hero of the film is a non-combative class. He's a bard, right? And that bugged the shit out of me because there was never I was expecting like a Jack Sparrow moment where you're kind of unassuming that this guy is
like a Mr. Bean type of
yes, like you don't think
or Mr. Magoo.
you think he's an idiot, and then you find out, oh wow, he's actually really well equipped to handle himself in these situations. You know, like he slaps a thing, he goes up on a rope, he fights two guys, you know, he stabs. You know what I mean? Like there was never that moment where it like just took off and this insane like fun action set piece happen. Now that does happen later on in the movie, but it doesn't happen with Chris Pine's character. It happens with Michelle Rodriguez because she's playing, because what's her role?
She's a barbarian.
Yes, okay. So she's the combative type. She's the one that does all the fighting for them. The druid I thought was cool because the owl bear thing was a nice touch.
I was like, that felt like the Hulk beating the shit out of Loki.
That's
like
exactly
at the very end, like,
what I thought. And that's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah.
MCU.
It was very, I was like, that is just that scene. I was
yeah.
like, they probably used the same like mocap.
Puny human. Then what's that other Justice Smith? I have nothing to say about him because it's the same character.
He's a sorcerer.
It's the same character he plays in every movie except for this one. He didn't scream as much. Yeah. Like, you know.
And then you have the other dude playing the paladin, who we like the knight, who they go.
Yeah,
and,
I'm glad they didn't beat it over your head with like like he's a paladin, so he has this, and this, and this is, you know what I mean? It just this was a movie.
He's an honorable man.
They show not tell, which I did appreciate. But once again, it was also one of those things where it's like, why is everybody but the main character leading the quest?
See, but I think that is very Dungeons and Dragons, and that was the thing I liked with it. Was you're playing a class, and the point of your class is to solve problems within your box. Because otherwise, then you're like, yeah, you're a multifaceted main character, and then it's like, well, why are you playing with a team?
Yeah,
like the whole point of it is like he talks about, he is the strategist. He is the person that is cunning. He's a bard. He's tricky. He played a very restricted bard. Like usually a bard is like a thief or some kind of like, just underhanded, like, you're not the best, like, you're not the best person.
I want to use the G word, but you're not allowed.
They're very, just like I can't think of the word, but he's a very like refined and elegant and kind of like, he's stole some stuff and now he's like remorseful about it because he got affected by it.
Are you thinking he should have had like more tricks up his sleeve?
Thank you, trickster. Yeah, it's like that's generally how a bard is typically played. I like that they didn't just make him like a goofy kind of funky kind of dude, because you needed his actual emotional weight to drive the story. That said, I don't feel like he served the purpose as the leader very well.
I mean, it just feels like this was a holdover till they do the next Star Trek movie for him, right? Like, it's kind of how it feels. It's nice to see Chris Pine in something that doesn't have a moral reprehensity to his character, specifically involving like, hey, we're just gonna use this guy's body as a vessel for Steve Trevor. Yeah.
The biggest criticism I had about this movie was how much time, or the stakes felt like nothing. Because there's 90% of the movie where we're not in front of the villain, or the villain is not affecting us or doing anything, or we're not seeing any problems that he's causing. And then the actual fight with the villain, and I'm going to say Hugh Grant is the villain because that's how it's portrayed for 90% of the film, is we're going to steal from him. Like that's
well, they're thieves.
I understand that, but like I was like, okay, cool. Like, that's not a weighty. There's no emotional weight for me there. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I know you're stealing for him to get like back his daughter and prove things like that.
But it was specifically to get the tablet to bring back the wife.
Right.
And the reason that he wanted to bring back the wife was because the child never met her. And that's the thing. It's not necessarily convoluted, but it is written as therefore, not and then.
Yeah, it is. Nice. It is emotional. It is not heavy, and it's not. Like, I felt kind of, the other biggest problem I had was kind of like, it was just fetch quests, the entire thing.
Well, that's what I was like, okay, it feels like a Dungeon and Dragon thing, right? Where it's like, oh, if you want to do this, you have to get the scepter of whatever.
Which is fine, except then they were like, well, that didn't work. Next one.
Yeah.
Next
You know what it
one.
reminded me of? You ever see Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol?
Yeah.
Okay, so in Ghost Protocol, that movie specifically, their technology keeps breaking while they're trying to use it, so they have to think on their feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I literally was like, this is like Mission Impossible 4, like a movie that came out fucking 10 years ago. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That's what I'm saying. I think if this came out like 5 to 10 years ago,
I think it would be
we'd
better
have a
received.
better response to it.
But that's the point as to like, I was like, oh, there's no wait, because I was like, okay, you spend the whole time getting this helmet, and then it's like, we can't use the helmet. Figure out another way. And it's like, okay. So it was like all of that thing you just did is like, you're like, you could have just done something else. Or you could have done something else. And like, not in the way of like, it didn't have an impact for them to fail.
yeah.
And they fail all the time, and then they just go to the next thing.
Yeah.
And like that, I get it. Like the whole point is he's like, I'm the master of failure. This is what I do. I just continue to do this. And like, it's a bit of a theme,
Yeah.
but I think it really pulls it out underneath it.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Red Witch? Red Wizard? What are they?
Red Wizard. I thought that was cool. Like I liked, like, I felt that they could have, I mean, obviously that's the main villain and the
Yeah.
main, like, big kind of thing. I liked like the Red Death Cloud. That was pretty cool.
I like the idea of heroes not getting their due. Like the reason why he stole from the Red Wizard. Was it this? Are they Red
yeah,
Wizards? What
they're
are they?
Red Wizards.
The reason he stole from the Red Wizard is because they mark their treasure, and that's how it led him right to him. Like, so the folly of him is that his own greed got his wife killed and his daughter eventually taken away from him, because that's
Right,
what
like-
it leads to.
Good writing.
Yes.
Like real good writing.
Yeah.
And like you don't figure that out until later, because they show that he passes it in the first time, and then he actually like admits to it, and then
yeah.
you get like some of that kind of like non-trusted narrator.
Yeah.
Again, good writing, compelling, kind of fun things. It's just I never felt the stakes were
Anything
it felt weird. It
more
felt weirdly
than
heist
what they
movie,
need. Yeah, but even then there
but not like
wasn't like that cleverness or like
I never worried about somebody dying.
No.
yeah, I never had that fear at all.
To which, when it happened, I was like, okay, I
Yeah,
know
but
what
I
I
knew-
was like. I know what
I
they're
knew
gonna
what
do.
they're gonna do. Yeah, exactly, and that's the whole thing. Because wasn't that thing as she said, let it go, or let
Yeah, with
The wife-
Yeah, the dragonfly. You got the dragonfly going through, and
Which was also interesting motif. I don't.
it, I'm sure there's some dragonfly lore that like we could get into. It's supposed to symbolize something.
It's
and I've
it's
looked it up
symbolizing his
before.
wife is what it is, and like that she's with him on the journey, and she's continually going to be with him, and then you eventually realize that the child's mother is actually the barbarian, because
she raised him.
died as a baby. The mom died as a baby, and then she raised her.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's where we realized Chris Pine is not trying to resurrect his wife so that his daughter has a mom. It's for selfish reasons. He's supposed to be realizing that everything is his fault all the time, and yada yada.
Which he
yada.
realizes and says, again, great writing.
Yeah.
He's like, I wasn't trying to resurrect your mom. I was trying to resurrect my wife.
Like I said, I don't think this story is necessarily written. I don't think this movie is written poorly. I
No.
don't think it's necessarily a bad movie. I just don't feel like it ever reached the heights of a movie like this could. I'm sorry. I think the whole fact that he's a bard just sucks the fucking, like, he should be like a knight or a warrior or something. You know what I mean? And I get he was a harper in the beginning, and the whole thing is like, oh, you're remember,
you gotta cripple him a little bit. Like, he's got to be down on his luck.
just make the guy more powerful. So there's a challenge to overcome, because remember the paladin defeats all those guys, and then they just get right
Which,
back up.
like, I loved the fact that he, like, the role that the paladin played in all of this, because it was basically, in video games where it's like you get that random one super strong party member for like a mission.
yeah,
Like that was that, and it was like that was fun as hell.
I did. I like the fat dragon. I was like, that was a bold choice.
That was
I like
funny.
That. I like, did he eat the other ones?
Did
Like,
he eat his other cave?
Yeah. And I want to know how they got out of the fucking cave thing. What'd you think with the lady with the slingshot lady, the
The druid
druid?
chick. It's just fine.
Yeah.
I thought, like, again, it was fun. It was great. It was one of those things where it was like, I know at the end of this, it like very like TV series where it's like you start somewhere, but I know at the end of the episode, everybody's going to be right back where they were with nothing
Yeah.
changes. Like
And I feel like she was that character
She was very much that character.
where nothing really changed. So to
yeah, like
speak.
I mean, like her forest isn't being taken down anymore.
yeah,
But it was like, everybody starts here and everybody ends here, and then you can just repeat that next time and repeat that next time. Like you're not, and that's why I don't think it had weight. Like no one died.
Nothing
Yeah.
mattered.
Nothing mattered because you knew at the end of the day everybody will be there and okay. And which I guess because again, it's like you said, it's a hero story.
yeah.
I think when they were in like the actual dungeon with the chonky dragon, and why that was the best part of the movie is because there were stakes, and what the paladin, I don't know if I'm saying that right, Bridgerton man,
Yeah, Paladin.
and Chris Pine had like a same common enemy, and we're all fighting, and there's a consequence, and now you're fighting against these dead people who can't die, and it's like, oh shit, they could really get you. This dragon could really get you.
Yeah, and then they get
I-
trapped, and then they
Yeah,
like use
and
his skill to blow up. And
when we got to the Colosseum, I didn't care what happened to anyone in that Colosseum. I didn't give a shit. I didn't care about anyone. And I feel bad saying that, but
I don't. Yeah, I completely agree. It's like everybody's gonna come out and they're gonna come out fine.
yeah.
Was it fun? Was it kind of cool? Like yeah, but it wasn't. The Colosseum point is actually like the labyrinth. Like that could have been really dramatic and tense, and it was not.
I would have liked to have seen more of that. I felt like there was like a big build up to get to like this end point. And then we're at this end point. We're like talking about the games the entire time. We're talking about all these rich people showing up. And the payoff there for me wasn't great. Like I would have liked to have seen either more of the labyrinth or maybe like an extra game where like maybe some of these characters are killed off and they have to go through the second game, and that's when they
You just
can
want
get
the
out.
Hunger Games.
I'll be feasting.
Okay, yeah, maybe I do just want the Hunger Games, but then like the Red Wizard, she's casting her spell like in the side of a casino, like next to a bar. She's like, hey, 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 hey.
Yeah, and they're like, "What's that bitch doing?"
And I'm like, okay, we get it. You're powerful, but like this is not
Yeah.
doing it for me. I don't know.
Ultimately, it's lighter than I thought it was ever gonna be.
Yeah.
but it's not bad.
I expected a Pirates of the Caribbean type of movie.
That had weight though,
And I got more of like a
Shrek.
less of a I got less like a lesser version of Guardians of the Galaxy, and that's where I'll leave it. Like I don't got anything much to say.
Oh yeah, it's the clip of the week. Oh, it's the clip of the week. It's the clip of the week.
All right, let's do this shit.
Okay, let's go.
unexpected.
No, I was not expecting that. Hold on, does he actually get hit? Is this a fake video?
I'm pretty sure it's. I don't know if he actually gets hit or not, but like I think it's like "This Guy's Okay" is the title of it. It's pretty convincing if it's like a fake.
There's no snow on the tires.
Yeah,
There's no
I mean-
snow
Yeah.
yeah, but damn, that was good.
Yeah, it's fun, right?
The shock value is really good. And yeah, the honking noise really gets
Yeah,
you.
it's that old rug pull.
I was not expecting that. That was good. I like that.
I know, because I'm sitting there waiting. I'm like, oh god, this guy's gonna get a face full of glass after that shit explodes.
Here it comes.
Just a good old fashioned bait and switch.
That was good. I like that. Nice, simple, sweet. There's nothing to examine there. Just a guy getting hit by a car. I thought the glass
What a
is blowing
sentence.
up, or like, and he was gonna get like a piece in his neck or something.
She's like, I'm gonna witness something pretty damn gory.
No, that was good. I like that.
Whew.
All right. Well, with that said, I think we're good for tonight, man. I'm fucking exhausted.
Oh yeah,
I got more Resident Evil to play.
you got to speed run that shit.
I got a speed run the last 30 minutes. So, with that said, thanks so muwell, everybody. Well, hold on, I'll try again. Thanks so much to everybody for watching us or listening to this episode of the podcast. We really appreciate it. Go ahead, leave us a comment. Go ahead, like this video. Do whatever you got to do to make the algorithm very happy. And we will see you next week because it's the Super Mario Brothers movie, everybody. And I have heard some things.
All right.
They're good. They're good things. They're not bad things.
We'll see.
You gonna run the outro? Or am I
Yeah.
gonna sit here forever?